It was supposed to be one of the happiest nights of my life. My company had just won a major award, and my wife, Clara, insisted we attend the gala together. She spent hours getting ready, twirling in front of the mirror in her elegant silver dress. I remember smiling, thinking how lucky I was to have her by my side. I didn't know then that the night would change everything I believed about love and loyalty. When we arrived at the event, everything seemed perfect. The lights shimmered, laughter filled the air, and Clara held my arm tightly. Then, I noticed him, Jake, her ex-boyfriend. I'd heard his name before, always spoken casually, as if he were a forgotten chapter of her past. Clara smiled a little too brightly when she saw him. She told me she hadn't seen him in years, and that it would be rude not to say hello. I didn't think much of it then. A few minutes later, I found myself alone at our table while Clara and Jake stood across the room, talking and laughing. Their conversation stretched longer than I was comfortable with. Every now and then, Clara threw her head back, laughing the way she used to when we first started dating. Something in my chest twisted. I told myself I was overthinking, that she was just being polite. But when the music started, and Jake extended his hand toward her, Clara didn't hesitate. She turned to me briefly and said with a grin, "He's just my +1 for this song." Then she walked to the dance floor with him. Everyone around us laughed, taking it as a joke. But I didn't. Her words hit harder than I could explain. I watched as they danced, close, too close. Her smile wasn't the one she gave to acquaintances. It was soft, familiar, and full of nostalgia. I sat there, frozen, while my colleagues pretended not to notice my discomfort. My wife, my supposed partner, was dancing with another man as if I didn't exist. I excused myself, stepping outside for air. That's when I decided something inside me had to change. I had spent years putting Clara first, her comfort, her dreams, her happiness, while mine slowly faded in the background. That night, I promised myself I'd never feel invisible again. When we got home, she acted as if nothing had happened. "You're being dramatic," she said when I brought it up. "It was just a dance." Her tone was dismissive, her expression cold. I didn't argue. I simply nodded, letting her think she'd won the conversation. I realized arguing with her would only make her defensive. Instead, I started observing. Over the next few weeks, I noticed subtle things: late-night messages, unexplained absences, the way she smiled at her phone and quickly turned it over when I walked by. I didn't accuse her immediately. Instead, I quietly started collecting proof. I checked the phone records, tracked her location through our shared car app, and it didn't take long before the truth surfaced. She was meeting Jake. I remember the night I confirmed it. She told me she was going out with a friend for coffee. Her friend turned out to be Jake, and their coffee shop meeting turned into a drive to a hotel parking lot. I waited, numb, as the hours ticked by. When she came home later, she kissed my cheek as if nothing had happened. I felt disgusted but calm, too calm. The kind of calm that comes right before a storm. Instead of confronting her immediately, I planned everything carefully. I transferred my savings to a separate account, gathered documents, and made sure the house, which was in my name, couldn't be used against me. I even hired a lawyer discreetly. Every step I took was quiet but deliberate. Clara had no idea what was coming. A month later, we were invited to another event, a small dinner hosted by her company. I agreed to attend, pretending everything was normal. During the dinner, she bragged to her colleagues about how supportive I was, how we were the perfect couple. The irony nearly made me laugh. When Jake showed up again, I could see the spark in her eyes. I realized she still thought I was the clueless husband. After dinner, when she went to chat with Jake again, I excused myself, but instead of leaving, I handed the waiter an envelope. Inside were printed screenshots, photos, and a short note addressed to her boss. The note explained that Clara had been using company time and resources to meet her +1. Her boss opened it later that night. The fallout was immediate. By the next morning, Clara's world had started to crumble. Her company suspended her pending investigation, Jake ghosted her completely, and I filed for divorce that same week. When she came home crying, begging me to listen, I remained silent. There was nothing left to say. She asked why I'd done it, why I'd gone so far. I reminded her of her words that night: "He's just my +1." I told her she made me feel like a guest in my own marriage, a background character in her little show. And now, she'd get to live the life she seemed to want, alone. The divorce was clean and swift. She lost her job, her reputation, and eventually, the house. I didn't do it out of spite, I did it to reclaim my peace. I'd spent years holding on to something broken, mistaking habit for love. Months later, I heard through mutual friends that she'd moved to another city, trying to rebuild her life. I didn't feel hatred anymore. Just a quiet sense of closure. She had made her choices, I had made mine. And every time I attend another event now, standing under glittering lights with people who truly respect me, I remember that night, the moment she called another man her +1. Because that was the last night she ever had me as hers.